Hey, Grandma. I hope you're feeling better today. I heard about your doctor's visit last week and you have pneumonia. Um, I understand your fears and I'm gonna try and help you with your questions today. So, your question is what happens when the immune system does not work well and what causes it? So, to put it simply to you, um, when your immune system does not work well, you come down with infections. It's all infections. And usually, when you don't have good immunity, your usually you come down with a lot of ear infections, skin abscesses, lung infections, and people with low immunity usually do not respond well to antibiotics. That's because beyond the use of the antibiotics, you're supposed to be fighting infections with your immune cells. So usually that's what happens. And in severe cases, when your immune system does not work well, you can come down with septicemia, which is pretty much a systemic form of infection that affects the whole body. So to put your mind at rest, pneumonia is very common for people in your age group, and you can get it easily treated if you follow your doctor's instructions. So to answer your question, what causes your immune system not to work well? I'm gonna to start with, when your immune system does not work well, it's simply called immunodeficiency, and there are two kinds of immunodeficiencies. Um, Primary immunodeficiencies and secondary immunodeficiencies. Primary are usually genetic and secondary are usually acquired. So, to explain the primary immunodeficiencies, there is one that is very common, which is called the common variable immunodeficiency, which is basically a low B cell count, which is very low B cell quantity in the body. Like we've talked before about B cells. B cells are very important in the humoral cell-mediated immunity. So that's that for the primary. For the secondary immunodeficiencies, there are lots of things that can cause that, and I'm going to explain with a diagram to make it very easy for you to understand, Grandma. Oops. So, the first thing I'm going to talk about is malnutrition. So, Grandma, growing up, you always made us, eat healthy. You told us that an apple a day keeps the doctor away. And so, you know very well that eating right is going to help fight off infections. So, now, especially in young children, malnutrition is very, very implicated in immunodeficiencies. So, for example, with children who have kwashiorkor or marasmus, they have very low protein intake, and so they don't make enough immune cells. So we know proteins are building blocks for immune cell production. And also in grown-ups, in adults who have poor nutrition, they lack vitamins like vitamin A, vitamin E, vitamin D, which are very, very important for the immune system. So moving on to another cause of immunodeficiencies is infections like HIV, which is very well known today as a huge contributor to immunodeficiencies. HIV means human immunodeficiency virus. So that's what HIV does. It depletes the immune system. So infections like that, like in HIV, would definitely cause immunodeficiencies. So another cause of immunodeficiencies is environmental stress. Exposure to toxins from the environment can definitely cause low immunity. Also, emotional stress, I would say, can cause low immunity. People who are depressed are very likely to go through immunodeficiencies because they wouldn't eat well, they wouldn't go out under the sun, get some vitamin D. So those things do cause low immunity. Other things which the next thing I'll talk about is age extremes, the one you're very much concerned about. And the way I would explain how age affects your immunity is pretty much how that you're prone to having many chronic illnesses like diabetes, kidney disease, all of which can affect your immunity. But one other thing is when as you grow older, sometimes your body begins to lose some of its normal function. And one important organ that can lose its function due to reduced size is the thymus. This is an organ found around your neck, and it is an organ that produces T cells. And so as you grow older, you begin to lose the thymus, the size of your thymus begins to shrink, and so you lose immune cells. And also, children who were born premature do not have well-developed organs, and so they're not able to make enough immune cells. So, other causes are surgery. A surgery like splenectomy, which is the removal of the spleen, would definitely cause immune system not to work. That's because the spleen has follicles where B cells and T cells are stored. So when you take that out of the body, you've pretty much taken a huge part of the body's immune system. Also, the use of drugs, immunosuppressive drugs, will definitely cause the immune system not to work properly. Drugs like glucocorticoids used in the treatment of severe asthma can cause immunosuppression. Other drugs like anti-cancer drugs like cyclosporine, very, very implicated in the reduction of immune cells. Remember Mrs. Smith when she had cancer of the breast and she went through all that chemotherapy and afterwards came down with a lot of infection? Well, it's drugs like cyclosporine that would cause that. So, yeah, definitely drugs are very, very important in causing immunosuppression. So, another thing I would like to talk about is metabolic diseases. We've talked about genetics. So, metabolic diseases like diabetes, which pretty much the commonest metabolic disease we all know about. So diabetes, because of such high sugar levels in diabetics, they're most likely not, their immune system is most likely not functioning well. Just because there is so much sugar circulating in the body, the immune system is suppressed. So cancers as well. Yeah, I was going to mention cancers. So, though the cancers can cause immune suppression, the cancer drugs as well can cause immunosuppression. So, that's basically it. Grandma, I hope I answered your question adequately, and I hope I've been able to explain to you why you came down with pneumonia. And I know you had an episode of pneumonia last year, so this may happen once in a while, but just know it's normal. Nothing is going wrong with you, really. It's just your immunity that is not as strong as it used to be before. So thank you for your time, Grandma. I hope you feel better and I wish you a wonderful week.